It is time to welcome in our guest. He is standing by and he is ready to go here on the show. And it is my pleasure to welcome in Wayne Box Miller of the Bengals Radio Network. Box, can you hear me? I appreciate you stopping by, man.
Yeah, man. How you doing? Long time, brother.
I know it's been a minute, but good to see you again and good to have you on the show. I appreciate you
Right.
making some time, absolutely. But I do want to start with Trey Hendrickson, and we started out
Okay.
our show today here talking about this. Obviously, that was the first question in the press conference yesterday. Beat writers asking Zach, and he very quickly was like, "Yep, he's going to be doubtful again," and obviously that probably means he's not going to play against the Buffalo Bills. So I think a lot of people were wondering, okay, you keep saying he's week to week, but it's been several weeks since he hasn't played. Obviously, hasn't played since the Jet game. Why was he
Right.
not placed on IR? Any thoughts on that? And any shot we see him again this season for the Bengals?
It's hard to say. I don't know if you remember that injury. It was a very brutal injury, and I,
Yeah.
I think people seem to have forgotten just how catastrophic that injury was. I mean, and some say it was a cheap shot.
Yep.
So I think if you really look at it, I went back and looked at that again, obviously the week after, and I thought, man, that is hard. And I heard some people mention his age has absolutely nothing to do with that. If you have a brutal injury, whether you tear a knee or something significant like that hip, and you've got that much weight falling on it, it's going to sideline you. I don't know if he'll be back. I think that they're going to take it week by week. A lot of people don't like to hear that, but remember, Joe Burrow came back,
Yep.
and a lot of people said he should shut it down for the year. I think that he's shown that him playing matters. I think if Trey Hendrickson can get healthy, if this team is still in a playoff hunt, a couple of weeks from now, I think you may see a Trey Hendrickson. So I wouldn't rule it out. I just think that, with that type of injury, I just don't, you don't rush back from that. And I think caution is still the order of the day.
There's been a lot of talk about what to do with him next year, right? I think the franchise tag
Yeah.
has been something that's been thrown around. Obviously, that number would be very, very high if they were to do it. I personally think that, respect everything that Hendrickson's done. I think clearly the best free agent signing this team has ever had as an organization, but it kind of feels like it's run its course a little bit, in my opinion. Any shot they tag him or perhaps give him an extension a year late, or do you think that this year is probably it for Trey and the Bengals?
Well, I typically ask players when I'm interviewing them, when did you realize that the game of football becomes the business of football?
Mm,
And many of them have varying, some learn right away. Sheldon Rankin said, first week he got there, a guy got cut sitting next to him. And it's like, whoa.
right.
Others, a couple of years down the road, I think the business of football is probably the reason why you won't see Trey Hendrickson here next year, with the money that's going to Chase, Higgins, and Burrow. And then they've got some guys they got to make some decisions on defense about. It's just going to be a hard line to keep him for the money he is going to want and deserves, to be quite candid with you. So I think the business of football may be the reason you won't see Trey Hendrickson here next year.
Absolutely. Defensively, obviously, for the majority of the year, they were struggling. I think that's pretty safe to say, as they probably were one of the worst defenses in the NFL. But past few weeks, they've really turned some things around, and we've seen the tackling improve. Even the Patriot game that they, of course, lost. Al Golden said after the game that probably the best tackling performance of the year, and then they followed it up on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving with another good tackling performance, and obviously they were able to create a lot of turnovers in that game
Right.
there as well. But beyond the tackling and the turnovers, any reason or anything that stuck out to you as far as why this defense has been able to improve?
I think pride. I
Yeah.
think so many of these guys basically got tired of reading the headlines, which, as I said on another show, you can't deny what you see. A lot of missed first tackles. They know that. It's not something that they weren't aware of. But I think to a player, pride kicks in and you say enough is enough. It's just like a guy in a boxing ring. I mean, 6 or 7 straight left hooks and you start to put your guard up. But I think that some players are getting more comfortable with Al's defense. I think he's worked to try to make it amenable for them as much as he still expects things from them. And I think you got to remember, and people tend to forget, you got a lot of new coaches. You got Jerry Montgomery, you got the linebacker coach, you got a new defensive coordinator. Whether we like it or not, and people just don't want to accept it. There's always a learning curve with
Yep.
new people in those kind of positions. I mean, you learn a defense, Lou Anarumo's defense, and then all of a sudden Here comes another guy and he says, well, I like it this way versus that way, or, my blitzes come this way or that way. And so it's a matter, and then angles, and everybody says, oh, I want you to do it this way. And so for us, we always say, oh, well, all you have to do is just blitz when they say blitz and this and that. But I mean, it's a little more complicated. I
Yeah.
think, yes, you would like for it to be this type of defense a few weeks ago, but it's here. DJ Turner's playing exceptionally
Mm.
well. I would say he's a Pro Bowl caliber corner at this point, based on the work that he's done. Joseph Osai is healthy, and I think there was never a question about Joseph Osai's ability.
Right.
The question was, could he stay on the field? Ability, day one, he came and he sacked Tom Brady right out of the gate when he got here. And you saw that and you went, whoa, this kid comes off the edge. But he was hurt,
Yeah.
and he was hurt again. Now he's healthy. Look at him. I mean, he's the guy that we thought he would be. He's relentless, man. And then Miles Murphy, I really like where Miles Murphy is right now. I know he's a late bloomer. I know to a lot of people he's a bust, disappointment, whatever. To me, I've always said this, man. I will evaluate a draft 3 years after the draft,
Mm.
because I think some players, yes, the first year they catch on, they get in, they fit in, they impact. Others, it's a learning curve that's a little higher. If anybody plays golf, some people take the golf and you say how. The rest of us are scrambling to make bogeys. Look at me
Right.
thinking positive, scrambling to make bogeys, and and then at some point it clicks in. But I think what Miles Murphy has shown us the last few weeks, going back to Pittsburgh game, 7 tackles, sack, tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits. I mean, chasing down Ravens players on the field, the relentlessness that he's shown. I think that Dan Hoare did an interview with him and
Hmm.
talked to him because he's a very cerebral kid. And he said, do you think maybe you're thinking too much while you're on the field? And he kind of admitted that that may have been a problem versus just turning it loose. But when you're trying to make sure, when you're putting pressure on yourself, which I think Miles did, put a lot of pressure on himself, that now those things are starting to dissipate. And you look at a kid that's out there running around. I think Jerry Montgomery has a lot to do with that, believing in him, encouraging him, and yeah, getting on him. But Miles Murphy, man, the last few weeks, if this is any indication of the path that he's on, Osai and Murphy are going to be very, very helpful to this defense.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, I'm watching him in the Baltimore game where they complete that pass to Derrick Henry, and then he's rushing the passer. He turns around, he sprints all the way down the field, and obviously it's a big game for Baltimore, but he makes that tackle, and you just don't really see that from edge rushers very much in this league.
Effort.
Yeah, been tremendous over the course of the past few weeks. It's crazy what one player could do. Obviously, Joe Burrow comes back. This team all of a sudden has some juice, and they looked like a really good football team on Thursday night against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm looking at this division, and there's obviously lots of issues going on in Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Yeah.
But right now, based on how the defense has played the past few weeks and Joe Burrow coming back, I don't think I'm being biased when I say this. They look like the best team in the division to me. What are kind of your thoughts on that here at this point?
Well, they are.
Yeah.
They are the best. Lamar Jackson's hurt. It's
Yep.
very evident that Lamar Jackson's dealing with something more than what they're reporting to the media, because he just doesn't look comfortable. We all knew Aaron Rodgers, eligible for AARP, was going to hit a wall. But you see his mobility or lack thereof, man. He just doesn't have the mobility that he needs to buy another second or half second. The younger Aaron Rodgers would have bought a half second on many plays where now he's just getting beat. The experiment in Cleveland, I'm happy for Shador Sanders getting on the field, but he's learning. Touchdown last week, no interception, so he's not costing his team. Maybe he's not leading them to victory per se. So that leaves Joe Burrow. When you look at the quarterbacks in this division, what he showed all of us on Thursday night Thanksgiving was beyond phenomenal. And I
Mm.
say that because you don't miss 9 weeks. Walk out there on the field and make the kind of throws that he made in game situations and pressure situations with all kinds of blitzes and designs, and uh, T. Higgins not playing.
Mm.
And yet you deliver that kind of a performance. His escapability was there. His magician like ways were there. His accuracy was there. I mean, he had a couple of throws early on that he admitted, hey, but we expected it. I thought he'd be a little more rusty than what he was. The guy is just different, man. And I'm going to tell you something. for me, he's creeping into that category of Montana
Yeah,
and Brady.
no doubt.
They just find a way to get the ball to whoever is open or whoever they think can get the 50-50 ball, or they buy another second. And really, if I'm being fair about it, it reminds me a lot of Big Ben Roethlisberger. He would frustrate defenses. You thought you had Ben. You're just about to reach out and put your hand on Ben Roethlisberger, and he would just slide a half a step or forward a half a step, and you'd miss him, and he'd make a play. These guys are different, man. They're clocks, they're computer processors. I don't know what the latest Apple chip is right now, but Joe Burrow has an A. Matter of fact, it is an A9, I think. So Apple has a Joe Burrow chip in the new iPhone. So.
Yeah, I was just fascinated by how quickly he got into a rhythm. Like as you mentioned, there was a couple there early
Yes.
with the not on the same page with Jamar. I don't know if we've ever seen that, but then like after the first couple of series and then into the second half, it's like looks like Joe Burrow. And I just was blown away that he was able to do that. And I totally agree with you. I think he's kind of he deserves. People kind of forget. It's funny, in this league, if you're not out there, people just are like, oh, Joe Burrow coming back. What's that going to do? But I mean,
Yeah.
this is one
Yeah.
of the best players in the league, is it not?
No question about it. I have to say this phrase in fairness: when healthy,
Yep.
he's top three. Period. I'd sit and discuss it with you all day. I think what he doesn't get credit for is his feet. And Joe Burrow, if he has to take the ball and run with it, he's just fast enough to get past the linebackers and the linemen. And he's big enough where he's not going to be intimidated by a secondary player. So he's got the feet and the footwork inside the pocket. He's got the arm strength. He's got a computer chip in his brain. His vision is impeccable. And he just feels like I know what I need to do to make this play happen or to win this game or to put us in position for Evan McPherson
Mm,
to kick a game-winning field. The guy, man, you watch him. If you didn't know he'd been gone for 9 games, you wouldn't have known.
right.
You wouldn't have known. It's just incredible.
Unbelievable. Wayne Box Miller joining us live here on the show for a couple more minutes, Bengals Radio Network. Burrow, after the game, I think said several interesting things, but one significant takeaway that I had was obviously the coaching staff has been drugged through the mud, and maybe rightfully so
Right.
for the majority of the year. And Burrow came out there and said, you know what, there's not a scheme in the NFL that's revolutionary enough to overcome some of the things that we're doing. We got to put it on the players, and the players got to go out there and play better. So he went out of his way. I don't know if he mentioned Zach directly, but basically to back this coaching staff. What were some of your thoughts and takeaways when he said that?
Well, leaders lead.
Yeah.
And, leaders take on the tough questions. Joe Burrow does that. I mean, you remember the offseason, he advocated for Trey, he advocated for Chase, he advocated for Higgins, um, and he advocated for Lou Anarumo, if you remember last year.
Mm-hmm.
And there were several pictures and images of him talking to Lou. Joe Burrow is that kind of guy. His dad was a coach. He understands that. You can draw up the most beautiful schemes, the most exotic blitzes, and all kind of packages. But if the guys don't get out there and execute, wrap up, make the tackle, or catch the ball, or pick up a blitzer if you're on offense. I mean, the play that he hit Andre Osivas, a lot of people aren't talking about. Samaje Perine made that play. He
Mm-hmm.
was on the right side of Burrow, saw the blitz coming on the other
Yep.
side, went under Burrow, got enough on that guy to throw him out of Joe Burrow's way long enough for Burrow to complete the pass for the touchdown. So again, he understands, man, the coaches can only do so much. Once that game starts, the game plan's in, and everybody has their assignments. Players have to make plays.
Got the Bills on Sunday. I looked this morning. I believe the spread's at about 6. Early thoughts on that game?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see which Buffalo Bills team shows up. I
No
mean,
doubt.
a month and so back, they lost 2 games in a row, and then they've gone win, loss, win, loss. And so, if they stay true to fold, then they should lose this weekend. So, but you got a big quarterback back there, Josh Allen, man, he's just a big threat. He can throw the ball. He's got a big arm. He's improved so much and not just throwing the ball up for grabs since the last time the Bengals seen him. I think the Bengals may have helped make him a better quarterback, but he's more disciplined with the ball, with his throws, which makes him formidable or more formidable. He can still run the ball. They've got a little bit of version of a tush push in terms of them trying to get yardage, and they'll get behind him. And he's such a big guy, but their running game, man, they've got a solid running game. And
Hmm.
the Bengals have been giving up around 5 yards a carry, but the defense has been pretty good of late. So they're going to have to keep them in down and distance that makes him throw the ball. But he's got a good receiving core. Defensively, they're going to get after it. And there's still some residual effects from the last time the Bengals went up there and knocked them out of the playoffs and went
Yep.
on to play Kansas City. And when Mike Hilton said the infamous "we're going to Burrowhead," and I think Chris Jones got a little upset about
He
that.
did.
And I think that this time around they'll just go up and take care of business. But it's going to be a tough game, man. I think that number 9
Mm,
again. When you got number 9, you got a chance, man.
always.
And Chase Brown is playing phenomenal. I mean, I think he set a franchise record 6 straight games with 100 yards from scrimmage. He's got over 970 yards total yards from scrimmage this year. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. The last 3 games, he's gone over 100 plus total yards and averaged over 5 yards a carry. He's running the ball very well. Hopefully T. Higgins is back still in concussion protocol.
Right.
I saw him yesterday. He looked good. Was talking to the people in the cafeteria. But again, that's just baseline. You don't know all the other tests that go along with that. But Yossi Vosh looks like he's getting back in rhythm. And Mitchell Tinsley, man, getting his chance again. You tell the young players, you've been around players yourself. You tell young players, man, you never may get called at any time. You have to be ready. And Mitchell Tinsley has been that guy for them to become that third receiver. And if he gets a one-on-one matchup, Joe Burrow has confidence that he could win that matchup or that 50-50 ball. So he doesn't lose a lot. I mean, you lose a special person in T. Higgins, the height, the high point end of the ball, the athleticism. But you still got Chase. Yossi Vosh knows what he's doing. Great catches he made in the last couple of games, the toe taps and things of that nature. So if they can run the ball the way they want to, Gesicki and Fant are still targets for him, as well as Tanner Hudson. The thing I like about Joe Burrow that I think makes him really effective, man, he finds the open guy or the right matchup.
Right.
And so many people look for their favorite receiver or they look for the 1 and the 2. Joe Burrow looks for the matchup. He looks for the open receiver, the opportunity. And that's what keeps that offense rolling and keeps Bengals in the game. So it's going to be a tough game. It's on the road. It's at Buffalo. It's a 1 o'clock game, thank goodness. It's not one of those night games where it's 4 degrees or something like that. But with this guy being back, energizing the offense and defense, Evan McPherson is kicking the ball as well as he's
Yep.
been. You've also got Ryan Rico. We don't talk about him enough. I mean, but this guy, man, the way he punts the ball, flipping the field, that could be the biggest thing in this game, man. If you get a couple of stalled drives and he's able to pin them back inside the 20 or the 10, I know he'd like to get a few more coffin corner kicks, as they used to call them back in the day,
Right.
but he's still booming that ball, man.
No doubt. And final question for you, Box, kind of big picture. This
Okay.
team, they could get hot, obviously, and I think there maybe is some concern that, well, they either win out or maybe just drop one game and they sit there and they evaluate during the offseason and say, you know what, we're fine. We can just roll it back with a lot of the same personnel, same assistant coaches that we have and go try again in 2026. Does that concern you at all that could happen? Or do you think that, that's okay if that does happen? Or do you think they would be better suited, making some serious changes, whether it be personnel or assistant coaches?
Well, everybody's under evaluation right now.
Yep.
If you want to say that there's a good thing about where they are right now in terms of fighting for their playoff lives, you find out who your players are right now.
Yeah.
You find out who's still playing. I'll never forget Ozzie Newsome when he drafted Ray Lewis. He said he went in the room by himself, as Ozzie, from what I hear, Ozzie does a lot, and he got the games where Miami were blowing people out, and he got the games where Miami was losing.
Mm.
And he wanted to see if Ray Lewis was the same player, regardless of the score, and he was that player. Never turned the motor off, always on the go, always looking with effort to make the next play. And so I think for the Bengal front office and the coaching staff, this is a great opportunity for them to look at guys to say, who in their mind has already said, well, we're out of the playoffs. We're not going to make it.
Yep.
So, whatever. And who's saying, hey, we still got a chance to make the playoffs. I'm trying to do everything I can to win. Or who just has personal pride to say, it matters to me how I play. It's not about the wins and the losses. It matters to me how I play, the kind of football player I am. So I think in essence, this audition for a lot of guys, man, that they get to look at Jalen Davis, man. How about that? He's the
Mm.
perfect example. Practice squad guy, was on the roster, moved to practice squad, never lost focus, man. Always kept the main thing the main thing. And then he's signed for the rest of the year. But it's effort. That's a guy that's an example of what I'm talking about. He's auditioned. They're looking at this guy saying, this guy wants to play. He wants to make plays. We need that right now because we've got to run the table. Unfortunately, we did that last year. We put our fate in the hands of others, which you never want to do. And it's something Dave Lapham harps on all the time, but it is what it is. And so they've got to get this one win season, which is Buffalo. And then there's another one win season after that with the Ravens, another one win season with the Dolphins. These are all one win seasons. You just got to look at it as a season within a game.
Absolutely. Great stuff, Box. Appreciate you stopping by. Let everybody know where and when we can find you on the air. And are you still doing Bengals pep rally? Is that still going on?
Yeah, I'm doing Bengals pep rally.
Okay.
We'll be we're doing them this year down at Kroger on the Rhine,
Got it.
100 East Court Street. Barrett Carter's going to join us this week. Dave Lapham and
Cool.
I, and I'll be back the following week working on that. But I still do that. Countdown to kickoff always comes on 90 minutes before kickoff, so we'll be on 11:30. And then the post game show comes on immediately afterwards. So yeah, still doing pre halftime and post, and appreciate all the work you did when you was there, man. You made it easy for me.
Well, I appreciate you, Box. That means a lot. And thanks so much for making some time. Great stuff, as always. And we'd love to do it again soon,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Yes, sir. I definitely will hit you up. Appreciate you, Box.
All right, who day, brother?
Who day?